Hello, this is Ruth Ann. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be filming a video just covering briefly my Elizabeth Taylor collection. So the reason I'm doing this video is just because it interested me, but also because I think that this is a line of fragrance that is underrated. It's beautiful, it's affordable, and even though some of them may be considered dated, they're still absolutely gorgeous. And the whole idea, just like everyone says about gender in perfume, if you like it, wear it. The same thing is true for the age of the perfume and for quote unquote how dated it is. So if you like classic fragrances that are old school or smell old-fashioned, or some people call them grandma fragrances, it's like it's the same thing. No matter what it smells like, no matter how dated or how old it is, wear it if you like it. And so I'm just trying to do my little part in bringing some love to these beautiful, beautiful fragrances. So I'm going to start with, and I have 8 of them today. So I'm going to start with the good old OG White Diamonds. Now, this is a much beloved but also much hated fragrance. I have an aunt who used to wear this back in the 90s, in the early 90s, and she's moved on to other fragrances now, but she said to me one day, "Can you believe people still wear white diamonds?" She's like an old Southern gal in her 80s, and she just hates white diamonds. She thinks it's dated, and here I am, young enough to be her daughter. In fact, her daughter is older than me, and I love white diamonds. So this came out in 1991. It is a white floral aldehyde. The top notes include sparkling aldehydes. It also has a lot of punches of oak moss and patchouli. I would describe this as a floral, fizzy, soapy fragrance. So the aldehydes provide a fizziness to it, and there's a bit of soapiness. So the floral notes can lean very soapy in this fragrance, but I love soapy fragrances. So if you think that this is just dated and overdone, and it was once the most popular fragrance, I think this is like the fragrance of the 90s for mature women, but it's still absolutely beautiful. It's got a real freshness that's great in spring and summer. And it's also highly award-winning. If you look on Fragrantica, it has pages of awards. So I wouldn't discount it. It's also very affordable. So if you're looking for just a fresh white floral and you haven't tried this yet, I highly recommend it. Next up, this has many flankers. This one is Diamonds and Emeralds. This was one of the first flankers to white diamonds. This came out in 1993. This is what I would call a fruity white floral. It also has some green notes in it, which makes sense because it is, after all, diamonds and emeralds. So what this has in it is, in addition to the powdery florals, it has a bit of citrus, especially in the dry down. There's also notes of jasmine, magnolia, and the greenness comes in because of sage. And sage is one of my favorite green notes in perfumery. So that's why I really like Diamonds and Emeralds. This is a great fragrance, I think, for all year round. It's best in fall because of the green notes. The fruitiness comes from apricot and peach. And so you could say it's dated, it's old school, but it's still beautiful in its own way. Please don't close your mind to it. I love it. It takes a little getting used to. When you first spray it, you're like, oh, okay, this is really old school, it's really old-fashioned. But give it a few wears and you really can appreciate the beauty of it. And again, very affordable. Diamonds and Emeralds. Next, I have the next flanker. This is Diamonds and Rubies. I don't know if you can read the label on there, but trust me, it's Diamonds and Rubies. It's just like the red writing on the bottle is just a little too close to the color of the liquid. This is of the whole line, this is my favorite. This one is my absolute favorite. This is white diamonds with a lot of warm, spicy notes. It also has a lot of peach and vanilla. And to me, this smells like Christmas. This is my favorite Christmas fragrance. It's got that mulled cider kind of fruitiness to it, but instead of apple in the cider, it would be a peach cider. This was actually formulated by Sophia Grosjean, and she is my favorite perfumer. So when I was collecting her fragrances years ago, and I first discovered that she had done this one, that was when I first purchased it, simply because she's the one that formulated it. And at first, I'm going to be honest, I didn't like it. I really didn't. I was like, whoa, where did this fragrance come from? It took me a while for my brain to really comprehend this fragrance and come to love it, and for it to be one of my absolute favorites. So you can go from hating something to it being one of your favorites, and I'm proof. It's a very warm fragrance. I love wearing this with a sweater, and it reminds me of a red sweater. Imagine a red cashmere sweater, and it could be red from bright fire hydrant red all the way down to a deep garnet red. Absolutely beautiful. It also reminds me of red lipstick, kind of a red lipstick fragrance. There's lots of different ways you can describe it, but Diamonds and Rubies is a really good description for it. And from what I understand, Elizabeth Taylor had a personal hand in the naming and formulation and approving these fragrances. So, and I really appreciate that too, because she was a great movie star. So Diamonds and Rubies, my favorite. Next one is, I bought this one as a tester. This is White Diamonds on Rouge. So this one was released in 2019. This is a rose dominant fragrance. It's a very sweet, fruity. I shouldn't say sweet. It's more of it's not like toothache sweet. There is some sweetness to it, but that comes from the fruitiness. There's also a lot of pink pepper, orange blossom. It's a very sensual, dramatic, fiery fragrance, glamorous. I would compare this to kind of a juicy berry. If you want a white diamonds with a real juicy berry kind of rose scent, but then it's not too heavy because the lightness comes in with the pink pepper and orange blossom. It's really, really, really nice. And I know this is one of the most popular ones in the whole line. So I'm not the only one that thinks that. So I'd say of all of the ones I'm presenting today, this is probably the most expensive. I paid more than $30 for this one. And that also speaks to its popularity. And that's why the price has gone up. But it's worth it. It's really, really nice. Next up, I have Brilliant White Diamonds. And now this one is interesting because there's no name on the bottle. This is really nice. This is a tuberose balm. It's tuberose with citrus and a lot of white musky notes in there. This one was released in, I think it was 2020? I'm not sure. I think I wrote it down wrong. If you know the date it was released and you're interested in that, you can put it in the comments, but I think I've got that one wrong. This is a very sparkling, fresh, ladylike fragrance. This works for day or night. It's just a really good summer, spring fragrance. It could be worn year-round, however, but it's, to me, because of the freshness and lightness of it, I would put it more in the summer. The tuberose lends a lot of depth to it, but the citrus and musk notes make it also very fresh. And again, it's very ladylike, very feminine, very, very pretty. Highly recommend. Let's see, next up I have, this is the last of the White Diamonds flankers. This is White Diamonds Night. This one, I'm not sure if it's discontinued or what, but this was hard for me to find. Like, I really had to search for it. Again, this is a tester. I bought this on eBay, and for the volume in this little bottle, I had to pay as much as I was for the full-size bottles of everything else. So I didn't even find, I was looking for a full size, couldn't find one. This is a floral woody musk, and it was released in 2016. This has notes of apricot, mandarin orange, and Night Blooming Jasmine. So it's a very nighttime, deep, rich, sensuous kind of a fragrance. Very saturated, great date night scent. It's also got that humidity that I would associate with a tropical fragrance, but it doesn't really come off tropical. The fragrance is more of a deep woody, but because of the humidity in here and the moistness in the scent, that's what makes it tropical. But it truly does not have tropical flowers in it, so I hope I haven't confused you there. It's very, very nice. I wish it was more readily available in the larger sizes, and I wish it was more affordable, but it is beautiful. And then I have Passion. So this one has been recommended to me over the years many times on my channel. Because of my taste in perfumes, I like a lot of strong, heavy, old school perfumes. Now, back in the 80s, when I was a college student, and in the early 90s, one of my favorite fragrances was Dior Poison, the original Poison. And it was in a black, dark purple kind of apple-shaped bottle, kind of like the Poison apple. And this is the same color, and this fragrance reminds me a lot of that original Dior Poison. Passion was released in 1988, so this is 3 years before White Diamonds. And I'm not sure, but this may have been her first fragrance release, but I might be wrong about that. This is classified as an amber fragrance. And it has tons of notes, you guys. It's one of these super complex fragrances. And I'm just going to touch on a few of them. Coriander, sandalwood, honey, orris root, civet, leather, oak moss, musk, cedar. That's just a highlight. That's just like a whistle-stop tour of the notes. There are tons of them. To my nose, this comes across primarily as tuberose, sandalwood, and vanilla. There's also bonus points for the patchouli and leather, but the leather is not that nasty animalic stuff that I can't stand. This is a lovely, classy kind of black leather jacket that you wear to a nice place, not the leather jacket you'd wear to a biker bar, okay? It's very elegant, dark, deep, and sophisticated. And again, reminds me a lot of Dior Poison. Really, really beautiful, very affordable. This is a tester bottle. I think I paid $15 for it. And this is the full size. Really, really beautiful. Lasts a really long time. Highly recommend it. All right, I have two more. This is Gardenia. This is really an old school floral, you guys. Absolutely beautiful. This one truly is tropical. And when I was a teenager, I visited Hawaii with my parents. And at night, I love to go into the tropical gardens and take walks by the ocean in the garden where there were lots of tropical flowers blooming. And this smells just like those Gardenia gardens. It's true to the tropical Gardenia. There are also notes of, let's see what else. It has lily of the valley, peony, orchid, but those really are only background players. What you get here is luscious, heady Gardenia. Very humid, very saturated, very tropical, very floral, very ladylike. Highly recommend. I have one more. And it's this one. And I went to film this video and I forgot to research this one. So, and I can't even remember. Oh, this is Forever Elizabeth. And I'm going to have to spray it so I remember. It's been a while since I've worn it. This is a very fresh, light floral. So let me just spray it quick. Oh yeah, okay, I remember. This is like a shampoo fragrance. This smells like a beautiful, fresh floral shampoo. The kinds of strongly scented shampoos that we had in the 90s. What were those shampoos that they had the commercials for? And I used to hate those commercials. No lie, I hated them. But I love the fragrance of those shampoos, and this smells a lot like that. So it's got a lot of aldehydes, bright fresh florals, light fruity notes, and maybe some citruses in there too. But this is by far a shampoo fragrance, and really, really nice. Very classy, absolutely beautiful. The floral note in here that I'm picking up mostly is rose, but I'm sure it's got a lot of pink and yellow florals in there as well. And I remember from wearing this last summer that it lasts for several hours, but I always overspray everything, so take what I say with a big grain of salt. So that is my 9 fragrances of Elizabeth Taylor that I own. And if you have others that you've owned that I didn't cover here, let me know in the comments. And I will see you on the next one. Thank you for watching.